Hello, everybody. Paul Rossi here with 910 Drones. Thank you for tuning in this afternoon to this webinar regarding the SkyeBrowse mapping application. We have some great guests. As I said, I am Paul Rossi. I am a manned aircraft pilot with a private pilot certificate and some multi-engine experience. I have a bachelor's degree in aeronautics, and I'm now acting as the Chief Operations Officer for 910 Drones based in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We work with individuals, businesses, and organizations to provide them with the training and sales support they need to launch a successful drone business. So today, I just want to set the table. We're going to be introducing the SkyeBrowse mapping application. Incredibly fast, incredibly simple in regards to planning and mapping a mission. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce Bobby Ouyang with SkyeBrowse. He is the co-founder and CEO with SkyeBrowse. So I'm going to bring Bobby in now. Bobby, if you could start your video.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Bobby Ouyang, co-founder and CEO of SkyeBrowse. A little background about myself. I have a background in engineering. SkyeBrowse started about 4 years ago at Rutgers University as a research project where we had one mission in mind. How do we simplify accident investigation using drones? So we built an algorithm to use video instead of pictures to make a 3D model, and it's currently the fastest in the world. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to make a 3D model. About 2 years ago, this is a personal story on why we're doing SkyeBrowse. I was in a motorcycle accident, and 3 police cars, 2 ambulances showed up, but I was the only one in the accident. I took a turn too quickly and I tumbled at about 60 miles an hour. And when I asked them what they were reporting on, they said it was a vehicle to pedestrian accident. But I didn't hit anybody. It was just myself. And that's when I realized that accident investigation is really inefficient. And with this technology, we can really push forward and make the world a better place. So we launched SkyeBrowse in November of 2019 to the world, and we've been growing really quickly. So I'm really excited to be here. And let's see. Hey, Paul, are you there? We could also introduce Barry Moore as well.
You want to introduce Barry Moore now, or we can go ahead and get the mapping kicked off, processing, and then I'll bring in Barry?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do that then. So once you've started sharing your screen, we're going to do a live demo right away on how to use SkyeBrowse. And immediately afterwards, we'll talk more about the features, show you guys some 3D models, answer some questions from all of the participants. And then we'll show you the final result of the 3D model. So if you can all direct your attention to Paul's screen. Now, he has a drone set up and 2 cars in this lovely neighborhood. So what he's going to do is he's going to fly SkyeBrowse, and he'll have the SkyeBrowse app open on his phone as well. So we'll be able to see exactly what he does. So currently he's flying SkyeBrowse Ultra. It's a toggle on the bottom left. Once you toggle it on, what it does, and it's really easy, you just tap it. What it does is it records video at the highest resolution your drone can possibly handle. And once you've uploaded the video, our servers are told to make a hyper-realistic 3D model. So this is really good for the CSI effect in court, as well as really high altitude flights. So if you're, say, flying a very, very long mission at 300 feet in the air, then SkyeBrowse Ultra would be really good for it. So let's start right away. It's going to tap Fly SkyeBrowse and enter the screen. This is the extent of our tutorial. We have no other tutorials. It's just that easy to use. So once you've done that, what you want to do is fly manually directly above the area you want to map out. So you can see right there, the drone is flying above those 2 cars set up in Paul's neighborhood. And one thing to keep in mind with SkyeBrowse is that you want to make sure that you are above other obstacles. So what we recommend is you fly about 40 feet in the air. That clears most light poles around the area, but just make sure, because this is this is also why we want you to manually fly above the area. So you can use the drone's cameras to look around and make sure that you're above all the obstacles. So now that Paul is above these two cars, all you have to do, and Paul, could you show the audience how high you are right now? He's at 40 feet in the air. Perfect, right there. And what Paul's going to do is he's going to tap SkyeBrowse on his mobile device. It's going to ask him to do a small or large orbit. To clarify, a small orbit is 12 meters in radius, and a large orbit is 20 meters in radius. And that'll be the same every single time you tap it. So he's going to tap large. And the next pop-up will be number of circles. With one circle, it just captures a really quick area, which is really good for SWAT location intelligence, as well as something you want to map out really quickly. With two circles, it does a second circle at a higher altitude to capture the surrounding environment as well. So why don't we go ahead and tap 2. So now, without doing anything, the drone will automatically pitch its gimbal to always be pointed towards the center of the area that you want to map out. It's going to fly itself in 2 orbits. So you can see that Paul is not touching the joysticks. The drone's now looking directly at these cars, and it's going to record video by itself. And you can see how quickly this drone flies. The total flight time of your drone should always be less than 2 minutes. And the video recording takes only about 1 minute, 30 seconds, and you have an entire scene. So you can see right here, the drone is flying pretty quickly. Because we're using video and we're not taking pictures, the drone doesn't have to slow down to take pictures, because with pictures, if you fly too quickly, either it's too blurry or there's too much exposure or there's too little exposure. With video, it's just one continuous video. So you also don't have to manage a bunch of pictures on your SD card and make sure that each picture is of the scene that you're trying to map out. You only have to look for one video right there. So right now, it's doing its second orbit, and it should be done fairly shortly. So one thing to note, because it's a really sunny day, what you want, ideally for best conditions, is a cloudy day, because there's no glare from the sunlight and there's no shadows. But fortunately, we have a solution. You can use an ND filter, which stands for a neutral density filter. And what that does is that it's like polarized sunglasses for your drone. So it reduces the glare of the cars. Otherwise, sometimes there may be some holes in your model as a result of the glare. But we've really optimized our algorithms so that it reduces shadows and glare in the 3D model. So there you go. You've created a 3D model. And right there, it tells you to upload your video. You can insert your SD card into your computer and then log into SkyeBrowse and upload your video. So that's what Paul's going to do. So Paul's currently landing the drone. So this could just be, say, for instance, a fatal accident right there, and you've collected all the evidence you needed in about 2 minutes worth of drone flight time. So it's really simple, really easy to use. It's designed by first responders for first responders. So now what Paul's going to do is he's going to turn off his drone and bring it back to his computer. And he's going to do a screen share on how easy it is to upload to SkyeBrowse.
All right, what is going on, everyone? I'm going to bring up now the SkyeBrowse website. Taking the SD card out. We're going to show you how quickly we can upload these images, or not images, I apologize. We'll upload this video to the SkyeBrowse website. I'm going to refresh my page. Once we fly a mission, we will get a new, I would say, upload available to us. We can see previous missions, but our newest mission from today at 4:08 is ready for video upload. So we're going to click upload video. We're going to go to the SD card. And as Bobby's pointed out, if it's not a video that was taken in the SkyeBrowse application, your computer will not allow you to upload it, or the SkyeBrowse application won't allow you to upload it. So it is now 4:10, and I'm going to start a timer, and we'll time the upload, which is pretty much dependent on internet speed, but we'll just get an indication there a little bit. And then once this is done processing, we'll start the timer again, and we'll get a good indication as to how long it's going to take for our map to process. At this time, I'm going to bring in Barry Moore. Barry Moore is a retired police officer and UAV professional and expert. Barry, I'm going to ask you to start your video.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing?
Doing very well.
Good, good. Good to be here. Paul, I was chomping at the bits to talk. I'm glad you muted me because for people out there that have used Pix4D, which I'm definitely not knocking, I think there's a place for it, but to just the ease of you going out there and flying that scene is really unbelievable. And that's kind of what I try to get my point across to everyone is that never have we been able to go out and map a scene that quickly. So a little bit about me, I was in law enforcement for 31 years, worked my way from patrol to undercover narcotics. I did major crimes and CID. Then I got tasked to start the first drone unit in our department in Mansfield, Texas. We started full-time drone units, like K9 units, and we'd respond to such. So we have a division that does nothing but respond to drone calls at Mansfield. So we put together policies and procedures and got that started several years ago. Also helped start was a founding member of the Public Safety UAS response team here in North Texas. We responded to events like Hurricane Harvey and to the Dallas crane collapse, to the tornadoes all over the place. And so we've done a lot of that. So expert, I'm not so sure, but have done some things. So this is fun times because I love talking about this technology because it's so good.
Well, certainly I'd say, Barry, you're definitely an expert compared to maybe some of the folks that are tuning in and just getting started out in the industry. So I'll give you that title if no one else will. So at this time, we got the video uploading, and it's not going to take much longer, but I want to have you and Bobby maybe jump into the capabilities of SkyeBrowse. So as far as once our map is done and processed, what can we start doing with that?
Absolutely. Bobby, you want to kick that off and I'll jump in?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen and show some of the models that we've made recently. A lot of the models we make, so to preface that, our cloud is CGIS compliant. It uses military grade encryption, and the DoD trusts it as well as other departments. So it's very, very secure. We're not allowed to access your models unless you share them with us. And a lot of the models that we've made, those cases haven't been adjudicated. So we can't share those models, but we have a few interesting models never before seen in public for everyone to view. So I'm going to share my screen and go through some of the models that we've made. Let's see, right here. So this, actually, Barry, you were at this conference with me.
Yes. Again?
Do you want to talk about this model?
Refresh my memory.
Oh, right. So this is in Piedmont, Virginia at the PVCC. It's the National Public Safety UAS Conference where they did a mock car crash.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, it took us a couple of minutes to fly it, get this model up and processing and able to show everybody in the conference, the 3D model, which was impressed a lot of folks. So I always love going to these conferences and showing it off because if anybody's used Pix4D, and I know a lot of you have out there, it takes really a massive computer to process all the data that you're getting from the drone. And what makes SkyeBrowse unique is the fact that you can fly this drone and have your 3D model almost while you're on scene is very impressive. I've never been able to do that before, and be able to do it now is really cool.
And inside the SkyeBrowse app, you have a few other features as well. You can annotate the model. So in this case, you could say this is a body right here. And you just click right here, and it's annotated in the model. Oh, hang on.
And I don't know if anyone out there can see, you can see that you can read the lettering off the car from this 3D model, which again is something that is completely impressive. There's not a lot of, go ahead.
Barry, I do want to jump in because I think we might have rushed through it just for the sake of getting this thing uploading. And what you're kind of mentioning is how quickly and easily I was able to get that video and collect that information. I mean, it was a few clicks of a button. So in regards to other applications that are out there, there's not a lot of planning that goes into it. And I think that's something we wanted to get across in this webinar, was letting folks know that this is something where you get on the scene. And I'll just lead into this map here. You know, you get on a scene and you don't have time to pull your computer out, you know, and plan a whole flight, and you might not know exactly where you are. You might not have good information. So with this application, SkyeBrowse, you're able to just roll up, hover the drone over the spot, click a button, and I mean, you're whirling and twirling. This thing's collecting all the video for you, and it's minutes. I mean, we were just in this, we did an introduction, Bobby and myself, and we collect the map, and we had it uploading within 10 minutes. So I just wanted to make that point clear, and then I want you guys to just, you know, keep rolling and let us know what features, what are we going to be able to do, because our map is going to be done before this is over, and we're going to want to maybe do some measurements and use these features. So I'll step back and let you guys roll with it.
Absolutely. We have a few questions as well. So I'm going to quickly answer some of the questions. I don't know where my questions went. Hey, Barry.
I can do it. I'll pull them up here.
Hit the Q&A. You just hit that Q&A button at the bottom, and it'll pull them up.
Let me stop screen sharing. Perfect. So the Mavic Air 2, Ian Waldrum from New Jersey asked, any plans to support the Mavic Air 2? If you look at the DJI developer forums, half of the questions asked on them are from us, from our team. We're on top of every single new drone release. We make DJI very clear and aware of all the bugs in their SDK. And ideally, the goal is to make their SDK better for not only us, but for everyone.
I'm gonna bump in here. Our map, we started the timer. It's uploaded. So the processing time now on our map has started.
Excellent. So on the Mavic Air 2, we do have plans to support it. What DJI said was that they're going to release support for the Mavic Mini over the summer, and they're going to release the Mavic Air 2 SDK soon. But they didn't give us a definitive timeline, so we're just waiting on DJI. If we could support it, we would be on it within a week or so. Let's see. Andy Alico asks, which drone was used for this model? We used the Mavic 2 Pro, but don't be fooled with good cameras. Because video is essentially a series of pictures, we have more data than any other 3D modeling company using photogrammetry. So we've made crystal clear models using even a Mavic Air. So you don't need a professional Phantom 4 Pro V2 with no rolling shutters and all the professional, the mechanical shutters and everything. You can use any DJI drone except for the Mavic Air 2 and the Mavic Mini to make 3D models.
Hey, Bobby, real quick. We'll probably want to answer these questions, but I don't want to take up from showing our models here. So let's, if we could, hold up on answering some of these questions and get to some of the models that we've done. I'd like to show the night ops feature and also show some others, and then we'll go down and start answering these questions for everyone. If that's okay with everybody. Just I feel like I don't want to waste a chance on them seeing some of the other product before we run out of time.
Absolutely. Well, to answer one of the questions while also showing the models, John from RMU asks that how much area can you map out? So we'll skip the second model, which is a really interesting model, and go to the third one right here. So this is a warehouse mapped out in Connecticut, and you can see these little lines on the right-hand side. Those are 18-wheelers. So this is a huge model we mapped out, and let me take a measurement of the entire area just to show you how much area we mapped out with SkyeBrowse. So we have a platform called SkyeBrowse that's used to map out long areas, very, very long areas. We've mapped out, what, 1.5, 2 miles in Mansfield, I believe?
Yeah, we did a parade route for command.
So this is about 200,000 square meters, which equates to 50 acres. This was done with a 5-minute drone flight with SkyeBrowse. So what SkyeBrowse is that it's like a little square with on top of a map that you can move around, and you can make it longer, like wider or shorter with SkyeBrowse. And then you tap SkyeBrowse, and it's the same exact workflow. You fly to your desired altitude. In this case, this model was shot at 250 feet in the air, and you tap SkyeBrowse, and the drone will fly itself. It'll record video, and within 5 minutes, we've mapped out 20 acres. And what's really interesting is that when you look at this model, the model loads dynamically over time. So what that means is it doesn't crash your computer, because these models do get pretty big over time. We've optimized our models to be 40% smaller, but still, these are still pretty big models. So you only load what you see, which is really interesting. And if you even zoom in, you can even see the little pipes on the ground. You can see right here, there's some stains from this roofing job right here. And all of this was just mapped out with the 5-minute drone flights and 15 minutes of processing. So it's really fast, and it's really easy to use. And you have the accuracy that's accurate down to the centimeter, both with SkyeBrowse and SkyeBrowse. And this was also shot with Ultra. So Ultra is an additional package that we offer, especially for high altitude flights. And this is an example of an Ultra model. So we'll go to the last model to show everyone for other use cases, especially public safety oriented. And Barry, I believe you're aware of this model right here.
Yes. Yeah, I love this. This was the first time that I've been able to fly at night to do a 3D model. This is with Garrett Brill and I in a real rural area of Johnson County here in Texas. And it was real dark. And we put these Fox Fury lights around. There was 4 Fox Fury lights. And one of the ground Fox Fury lights that we just put out just to help us out to see. So we flew this model about, I think it was around 10 o'clock at night. So there was no light at all. It worked just as well as it did in the daytime. It's so simple. It's unbelievable. But you flew the drone up over the top of this model here. We had it back in about 2 minutes. We processed it and had this video up and running the same amount of time. But it was late that night. We uploaded it, but we didn't pull it up till a little bit later. But just how impressive it is to see the tire tracks here at night. Our goofy cells were shadowing this 3D model, which we should have moved out of the way. But hindsight's always 20/20, right? But you know, as you can see, this it's crystal clear. You can see the dirt on the back of the Tahoe, on the roof of the Tahoe, the truck. There's some equipment in the back of the bed of the truck that you can see where his 5th wheel attachment goes. He's got a big dog sticker. There you go, right there on the back. You can see just as clear. To be able to get up there and throw these Fox Fury lights up and be able to produce a 3D model within 20 or 30 minutes on let's just say this was a major accident scene at night where you need to clear this roadway up, maybe before rush hour traffic hits or something, to be able to put this up there, get you a model done in a matter of minutes. And really having the ability to clear a fatality or major accident scene, having all your measurements and all your data before they can even clear it is just, it's unheard of. So thoroughly impressed with this night ops, and I think it's going to work real well. And I can't wait to get more videos out there. I know that some people have used it. Mansfield's fixing to start using it on their scenes, and and they have the lights and everything. So I'm really anxious to see what they produce, and then we'll have a lot more answers. But it's thoroughly impressive.
Absolutely. And we can show off some of the dashboard features when you check out SkyeBrowse. So basically, you have the basics, the measurements. So you can measure the length and the width of each truck, as well as an area measurement tool right here, where you can get the area of, say, the other truck right here. And this all can be done at the comfort of your office, or even if you're on the field, even with your MDT. And what's really cool about this area measurement is you can change it really easily. When you hover over a point, you can just click right here. If you want to delete this point, you just click that and the point is deleted. Or if you want to delete this entire measurement, say you took a measurement that you didn't care about, you can just click here and it'll delete that measurement. We also have metric and imperial conversions for all of the non-Americans watching right now. If you click right here, your measurements instantly turn into metric. So you can go back and forth really easily. And it saves whichever one you choose. So you don't have to click it ever again. You have the X button to exit out of all measurements, to get rid of all of them. And you have some really interesting clipping tools as well. So say if you're an accident investigator and you want to look at a cross-section of this car, you can just click here, open up the clipping tool, and then click inside. And there you go. You've clipped the parts of the model that aren't of interest, and you have the parts of the model that you need to do your report on. So I want to really stress this out. This clipping tool is not destructive at all. This does not destroy the model. It doesn't change the model. It only changes the viewer of the model itself. So if you just were to get rid of that chunk right there, you can do that. But once you click X, everything's back to normal, just like that. We have a few other tools as well to show off. We have the frames tool and a screenshot tool. So if you wanted a top-down screenshot of the view for either a report or something, you can do that, and then your screenshot's downloaded in a high-resolution PNG, just like that. If you want to look at it from a certain angle, instead of a bird's eye view, say this angle right here, you can click the left screenshot tool right here. And what that'll do is it'll screenshot that current view right there. We also have a report generation tool, which is called 1-second reports. If you go right here and you say you write a bunch of annotations, so you want car 1 or car 2, and then you want to annotate some other parts for your report, you can do all the annotations, write a description right here for your report, and write a case number. And then when you click Get Report, you can generate a report. And if you look underneath each column for annotations, you can either choose a thumbnail, which is a very high resolution video frame of the area. So it's even higher resolution than this 3D model. You can add a thumbnail or choose not to. And you can also change the color of the points. So for instance, if you're mapping out a murder scene and there's a lot of blood on the ground and you don't want a red point, you could change it to, say, blue or yellow, most likely yellow. And then you click Get Report, and it will automatically generate a report for you. So
Bobby, is there a way to see the report, or is it thoroughly important to the law enforcement community? Because a lot of guys put a lot of time into this reporting for SkyeBrowse. A lot of the guys that are actually out there working and doing this thing, and it's very user friendly. It's to be able to generate a 3D report like this it's pretty awesome.
So this model was created before our report generation feature was shown. Let me see if I can pull up a report.
If you can't, Bobby, if we don't have time, that's fine. They'll be able to see it if they play with it. It's crazy good.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of our models, yeah.
Hey, and what's going on, you guys popping in here? We've got quite a few questions.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Popped up. I just want to cover a few of these, and Bobby or Barry, just go ahead and answer. One question was asked in regards to the files, the MP4s. Can any MP4 be uploaded into SkyeBrowse?
The answer is no. It only works with MP4 files flown with SkyeBrowse.
Okay.
The reason is that our 3D modeling is different than traditional 3D modeling. We need to know where you flew it. We need to know your flight logs in order to basically pre-map the model. Before you even upload the video, we have a map of the model. And then once you've uploaded it, we slap every single frame of the video on top of the model. So that's why you can only use SkyeBrowse to make 3D models.
Okay, and then in regards to SkyeBrowse versus WideBrowse versus Ultra, SkyeBrowse is just the base using 1080p video. Ultra is bringing in the 4K for that higher resolution. Now, anything else in regards to WideBrowse, just like kind of just to cover the differences?
Absolutely. So SkyeBrowse is good for spot instances such as accident investigation, structure fires for smaller buildings, car fires, as well as crime scenes. WideBrowse is used for long-range mapping, say there's a natural disaster, a controlled burn, or just even like a car crash down a larger corridor. You can use WideBrowse to map that out. Ultra is really good for higher resolution 3D models. You get significantly better looking 3D models. They're both the same accuracy, but the better ones will look better in court. So you'll have that CSI effect. And Night Ops, which is also a toggle in there, is good for nighttime 3D modeling.
Okay, in regards, you mentioned with the WideBrowse, in regards to corridor, for example, it leads into just the next question here. What would you say is an area of a corridor, maybe size, length, that you would do with a WideBrowse here?
We did the parade route, which was nearly 2 miles long. We flew that in, I think it was about 20 minutes, and had a model ready to go for command that day. So processed really fairly quickly. So
excellent. So quite a lengthy area, and if you're
you
considered for an accident, you're definitely going to be able to cover like a highway accident scene pretty quickly. Okay.
Absolutely.
Improving. Let's see. We have a question in regards to like RTK and accuracy here. So I think what we're getting into is, that geo accuracy in regards to where this scene is on the Earth in relation to every other building. But then what about relative, like internal accuracy for the model itself? And Bobby and Barry, you could both probably touch on this here.
Right, Bobby.
So the relative accuracy of SkyeBrowse is 1 centimeter. We have quite a few case studies going right now. I think 3 or 4 case studies that we're working on to prove this accuracy. But what we're doing is we're using a Velodyne LiDAR scanner to map out a scene and then map the same scene out using SkyeBrowse. And then we're going to put both models on top of each other in Cloud Compare and look at the differences between the SkyeBrowse model as well as the Velodyne model. So that's coming out pretty soon, later this year. In terms of absolute accuracy, we're off by about 1 meter. This generally isn't too important unless you're doing surveying or you're a professional photogrammetrist in the first place. If you want a quick and dirty 3D model that's accurate and provable in court, then SkyeBrowse is the best bet right now. And one of the issues with RTK is that you have to add in all these GCPs, you have to put the ground control points down as well as the ground total station, and then that just adds on to the time you need.
Yeah, and that's, I think, before Barry might touch on relative versus geo, but that's just not what this solution is for. This is not your surveying or engineering mapping application.
Of course, don't care where you're at in the world at the time of that map, I promise you.
Okay, excellent. Tree-lined road. So we could touch on this. Obviously, the question is, are there any considerations or suggestions for handling nearby trees, like minimum encroaching distance? And I'll just say every area, I'll lead in with it, might not be the best.
Absolutely. We crash our drones a lot so that you don't have to crash your drones. Back when I was coding full-time at SkyeBrowse, I used to crash my drone 2 or 3 times a week just to make sure the obstacle avoidance was working and everything. And that Mavic Pro is still running. It's a great drone. Good job, DJI. What you want to do, even though we do have sideways obstacle avoidance enabled for every DJI drone that has that capability, we recommend that you still fly above objects because the sideways obstacle avoidance will not detect, say, a power line. and that drone's going to crash. So ideally, just fly your drone above all the trees. And we've had people map out accident scenes with SkyeBrowse at 100 feet in the air with no issues. So the best bet is fly above any obstacles and then tap SkyeBrowse.
Okay, and I want to go to these questions now because they're coming in. People have a lot of good questions, and I'm glad that we're able to answer them here today. So Andy asked, what file type, PNG, kind of question mark, what would we send to the commanders or others that need to view it? Would they have to have SkyeBrowse? And that's Andy's question. And then John was asking kind of where would others view the model? Do they also have to have a login? And what's the best way to share a viewable model?
Oh, this is a cool feature that we just added in
This
last week.
is amazing. I'm just going to tell y'all right now because you can't do it anymore. So go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah. So we just added this in last week. It's shared models. Currently, it works for people with SkyeBrowse accounts, but we're going to add in the feature for people without SkyeBrowse accounts as well. Basically, you just add in their email that they use to sign up for SkyeBrowse, and they'll be able to make a view your 3D model. So it's in the panel itself. On the top of the panel, it says that there's models that you own, models that you've shared, and models that were shared to you. So you can just click on models that were shared to me, and they can view the same exact model that you created.
Okay, and I think what we could do is once we get this model pulled up, we'll show how you shared a model before and that different feature. Now, another really interesting kind of set of questions here has been, have any models successfully been entered as evidence into any cases? And if so, have they been challenged? Have they been approved?
There's a couple out there that are pending.
And I'm going to pause you right here because I just got the notification that our model is ready for viewing, and we're at 18 minutes and 43 seconds. So I'm going to let you go ahead, Barry. Again, 18 minutes and 43 seconds, and our model's ready. I'm going to bring the model up now, but Barry, if you want to answer those questions.
What I'm advising departments to do is to meet with their local DA's office, demo the unit, the model with them, show them there's a model on the website that has been tested through a DA's office up north that has known measurements in it. And I always suggest that you put a known measurement in your model. If you've got a scale that you can put down, by all means put the scale down in your model. That way you can show it right away that it's accurate. But I've been trying to sit down and meet with the area DAs here and just letting them know that this is coming and it's going to be available to them. Because let's just face it, and I'll just be honest here, the models that we have produced, Garrett and I have produced, are so big, the files are so big that you cannot share them. You can't share them with the DA's office because they're just too big. It would crash their computer. So we always had a problem doing that. To be able to tap a share file to someone else to view this model in a matter of seconds is crazy good. So your DA's office is going to have a real easy time viewing these models, which that hasn't been the case in the past. So I think it's going to catch on really quick. And there will be some testing done and some side-by-side comparisons. I know there will be. And there'll be some challenges, and I look forward to that because I think it's going to be hands down better.
Yeah, awesome. We're paving the way for the future
Right.
here, and in regards to efficiency and then accuracy and what's needed. It's what is the what's the problem and what's the solution. So I like where we're going here. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to bring up the SkyeBrowse site, and here now instead of upload or processing, now we have view model. So we're just gonna, and real quick, I'll go here. We have owned models and then shared to me and shared to others. So this is where you're able to, have that shareability. But let's go ahead and view this model. And again, the ease of setting this up. I've had I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to work with public safety departments in the area. And when it comes to mapping, because you could put the thermal cameras into their hands, but they've used it before, they understand that. What they don't quite understand is the mapping, right? They're not engineers, they're not.
And they don't want to take the time to learn it, to be honest with you, Paul. They got too much other things on their plate. They just want to be able to go out and be able to do this. So.
Exactly. And if you're not doing it often, it's not something that you just easily can remember. So something like SkyeBrowse, 2 taps, drones up in the air, and you're pulling, you know, a model like this, again, within 18 minutes. And from the time that we finished the flight, it's 4:40 now, and we uploaded at 4:10. So this is 30 minutes from capture to process.
And Paul, can I say something just besides accident scenes here, which is
Yes, certainly.
But just think, having the ability to fly a standoff, if you've got a SWAT standoff going on, to be able to put a drone up over that residence or apartment or whatever it is and fly it, and potentially have a 3D model while you're still in that standoff to give to your commanders, that's invaluable. I mean, we haven't had that before either. So it's really good.
And now we're going to be able to take this model that we just created. We're going to be able to use some of these same features that were just discussed a little bit earlier, as far as clipping pieces in and out. And again, this was just mapped and modeled effortlessly. Oh, I always forget clicking again. So here we go. Click on it. I'm going to drag this section out.
And the model viewer looks a little bit slow right now. And the reason is that Paul is sharing his screen. So his computer is using a lot of processing power, just sharing the screen and uploading it for everyone to see.
And Paul doesn't have the quickest computer in the state, so. We can drag this out.
Yeah, bring it out a little bit, Paul, if you could.
Yep.
Okay. See what it's doing.
And again, it's just a little slow here because of the screen share, but I would say this right here is something you can get into very quickly. Fly some maps, models, jump into these features. The team with SkyeBrowse, just in the short time that I've been doing some flights and working this here, I'm going to zoom out, is the features are just coming more and more and more. So to get in here now and start understanding, now I'm going to pull this out, and we've isolated just that important part of the scene. And again, this was minutes to map.
Yeah, and I can say that if you have any questions on these models and the clarity on them, you go to SkyeBrowse's website. You can go in and look at some of the models that are created. I think they're on the homepage. They're absolutely amazing.
I'm going to bring this. I believe I'm doing this. I'm bringing up this 2D view. And I'm going to measure this cap right here. It should be 26.5 inches on this green sewer cap. And that'll just give us a reference. It has just the features. I would say that an individual that's using this for their solution, it has just the features that they need and not everything else that's a little, that can make things a little bit cumbersome and somewhat a bit confusing for anyone that's getting into mapping, not for that engineering, surveying, high resolution, high need of accuracy. and you right click there and your measurement's complete. And knowing this now, I probably measured wrong with my measuring stick, but that's not what this webinar is about. We want to show you here how easy it is to get into this software. We want you to see this and now be able to put SkyeBrowse to a test yourself. Go out there, put your own scene together, lay measurements out on the road, because we could sit here, Barry, Bobby, and I could sit here and tell you, what the measurement of this and the measurement of that is. But when you go out there and do it yourself, you're going to be impressed at the results that you will see.
Absolutely.
Anything, Bobby, you kind of want to add here in regards to this model? I do want to go back. I think we have quite a few questions, which are really good questions. Do you think, what your thoughts, anything I missed here on just kind of showing this model and the
Absolutely. So everything looks pretty good. One thing I like to mention is that directly underneath the shadows, it's a little bit hard to see. And the reason is that whenever the drone is flying on that angle, the sun is, especially during sunny days, in this case, this is the afternoon, the sun is literally shining into the drone's cameras, which adds in the extra glare. So when this happens, we recommend using an ND filter as the first step. An unusual, but also tried and true method is baby powder. If you're trying not to contaminate the accident scene or the crime scene, what you can do is put baby powder on the areas that you know where the sun's going to reflect on. And that will, because baby powder can be blown away, it doesn't contaminate the scene, and you're still able to get a good 3D model altogether. So to reduce that aspect of the 3D model, those are some steps you can take.
I would suggest
anything. We have a good amount of questions.
Yeah. I'm going to stop sharing this screen now. I want to bring you back in, Bobby. And if you have been looking at the questions, is there anyone specifically that you want to bring in, or you want me to just?
Yeah, let's just go down the list. If we can try to answer everybody's questions, if we can, it'd be great.
Yes. Let's do that. All right. Let's jump in here. Can you stitch, Toby asked the question, can you stitch multiple models together?
We've tried that in the past. It's very experimental right now, where currently we've tried stitching different videos, either from like a cell phone and also from a drone. So say there's a shooting and you need to map out bullet cases on the ground. And you can essentially record a video using your cell phone and then upload it to our site, and then record a video using your drone and upload to our site, and those models get merged together. It's still very experimental right now, so it's not released. We don't release bad products, so we're still testing it out.
Okay, I got another question in regards to capability, speed, and memory of a computer. So I think this one would be straightforward. All the processing is done on the cloud, correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so I think anything slow in regards to here, what we mentioned in regards to the speed is just the fact that my PC, my computer itself is trying to share the screen and kind of run this webinar. So that's what's slowing it down. It's not SkyeBrowse, the software. This is a straightforward question right here. Do you offer a trial for SkyeBrowse?
Absolutely. If you are interested in a 2-week trial, just feel free to download the SkyeBrowse app on the App Store and sign up using your credentials. You'll automatically get a 2-week trial to play around with the software, run it through its paces, and see the magic of SkyeBrowse.
Okay, here's a good question we have here for Barry. Barry, have you ever needed more than an XY measurement? And then Bobby, so two-part. Bobby, is it possible to do a Z measurement in SkyeBrowse? And that's from John.
Okay, so to answer your question, I've never had to. However, I'm not an accident investigator, so that I wouldn't have had that to be able to do that. So I've worked a lot of accident scenes, but I'm not a AI, so no.
In terms of the Z measurements, it is available in the SkyeBrowse tool. in the 3D modeling, right underneath annotations. So it's the second column of the 3D modeling tool. It's a vertical line. That's the height measurements. However, we do want to say that height measurements can be off by a few inches instead of just centimeter accuracy. There it is, right there on the screen. And the reason that it's off is that you need to take off at a level plane of the entire scene in order for it to be accurate. And it's because DJI uses a barometer to measure height, which means it's all relative. So if you take off on, say, the top of a skyscraper, or if you take off on the streets, it'll still note that down as 0 feet when you take off. So that's why the height measurements may be off.
Okay, very good. Now we have some questions in regards to resolution. So will a longer flight, this is from John, will a longer flight increase the resolution? And then also from Alan, could a lower level manual video be incorporated to show closer details?
Let's see, which is the one from John?
So John had asked if a longer flight, like a longer circular flight, will increase the accuracy.
A longer flight would not,
Resolution.
just because we already capture every single angle of the 3D model. I'm assuming you mean accuracy of the measurements, and currently centimeter accuracy is very good for public safety.
And then could a lower level manual video, flight executed through SB, be incorporated to show closer up details?
Absolutely. So we have a feature that we don't really advertise. It's for power users who are really good at flying drones and want to use it. If you manually press the record video button on your remote controller, then you can manually fly the drone, record video, and upload that to our site. So our site will accept that video as well. The record video button on the app is purely cosmetic in case someone fat fingers it, nothing will happen. So you have to press the record video button on the remote controller in order to manually record a manual SkyeBrowse flight.
Okay, and now here I have a question from Sean. Sean's asking, we have a Leica P30 3D scanner. We also use for crime accident scenes. Can the SkyeBrowse model be integrated with the Leica scanner?
In theory, yes. We do export the models in Esri compliant formats, so it can be, making the 3D model is really difficult, but converting it into different formats is really easy. So it's all open source, which means we can just find the code online and just convert it to whatever format. So we could do LAS, LAZ, PLY, OBJs, DXFs, basically any formats, and you can import that into either Leica, Faro, Esri, or any other software.
Okay. Alex asks, can the model that's created be exported for viewing offline?
It depends. Currently, no. We are adding in that feature because we already generate an LAZ file from the 3D model. So each file is in our server right now. We'll add it in with another stealth update with a really interesting update that we're pushing out really soon, but I can't say more about it.
Excellent, excellent. So that's definitely something I think people would be interested in is having the ability to kind of take it off and put it in something like a Sketchfab or something else, especially maybe in the education, folks that are in the educational field that are wanting to use these models, not just for crime scenes, but showing off and maybe even marketing. Maybe this rolls into some type of marketing thing, but all right, let's jump into the frames. So do you need to make frames of the model before generating a report?
No, that's automatically done through software. We don't make the users do anything. It's really just tap 2 buttons, get a 3D model. Everything else is done for you. There's really, especially after working on this for over 4 years now, we've really realized that there's really not that many steps necessary. Like a lot of the steps necessary for 3D modeling is unnecessary. So we automated that through software. So there's really no need to learn photography or understand photogrammetry. If you want to make a 3D model and you want it quick, especially for emergency scene, for first responders, then SkyeBrowse is the perfect software.
Certainly. Now, let's touch on the Ultra. The Ultra feature. Is Ultra included with wide browse? That's coming from, well, anonymous. So is Ultra included with wide browse? And also, does Ultra work in both SkyeBrowse and wide browse?
So I'm going to confuse everyone. I'm going to say that wide browse is included in Ultra, but Ultra is not included in wide browse. Basically, there's three platforms: SkyeBrowse, wide browse, and Ultra. SkyeBrowse is the circular flight that you just saw today with Paul. Wide browse is the long range flight where you saw the warehouse. And Ultra includes both SkyeBrowse and wide browse. So those are the three platforms. And also Ultra includes night ops, so you can make nighttime 3D models.
Okay, and then pricing, because that was kind of attached to these questions. I mean, we don't, if you're getting into pricing, go to the website, ask here, you know, what's the plans? How's the approach there? Because I know people are, you know, it's one of those.
Hey, it's stupid cheap. I say that, and it's not going to sound that, but we're coming from public safety side of it and knowing what the prices were for some things out there. The Ultra is $11.99 for ultimate unlimited maps. So that's crazy. And it's something I'll say about that is it takes so little time to create a map on an accident scene. What's to stop you from doing multi-level maps? So let's say you have a pretty serious scene. If it's taking 2 minutes to fly a model, and you can shoot the lower level, raise it up 50 feet, shoot another level, raise it up 100 feet, shoot another level. You're 6 minutes into it, and you can pull all those videos off your SD card, and you'll have 3D models on all three of those flights that you can compare and be able to use on your accident scene. So because it's unlimited and it's so easy and so quick to use, there's really no reason why you can't go out and fly multiple 3D models at a scene and at different altitudes and get different variations of the model. So the sky's really the limit, pardon the pun, but it's just that easy.
Absolutely, Barry. And I want to recap on the pricing. So SkyeBrowse, which does the circular flights, is $8.99 per year, unlimited models, unlimited videos. Wide browse is $11.99 per year, and Ultra, which includes the night ops and includes SkyeBrowse and wide browse, is $15.99 per year.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Excellent. And I do want to I'll bring this up real quick. If you go to the SkyeBrowse.com website and you click Start SkyeBrowsing up here in the corner, you're going to get that pricing laid out. You can click on it, what's included, number of pilots. With that being said, again, SkyeBrowse, and click Start SkyeBrowsing in the top right corner and you'll get pricing, but users. So in regards to licenses per user, per drone, number of models, just kind of quickly, Bobby, what do you got there for us? Is this per user, per drone? Is it limited by the number of models?
This is per pilot. So each pilot gets their own account and they'll be able to share freely throughout their organization. So if you're a department that wants to start off with, say, 5 licenses, then those 5 pilots can share freely their models within their own organization.
Okay, so price per user. Excellent. That you're already answering more questions. So how many users per yearly fee? So it's a per user license. And once this user has access to SkyeBrowse, they can freely share within your organization. Great. Here, let's take this question from Gerard. While making a model at night, can you make one without any additional exterior lighting at the crash scene? So if you don't have the Fox Fury lighting, if you don't have your night lights on the trucks, what's it like?
With the ambient lighting, the technology is getting there right now. If you see, say, like Google's Pixels phones, Apple has night vision as well on their newest iPhones, but they still need some sort of lighting because ultimately, as far as software can go, the cameras haven't caught up. So essentially what night vision is that it's making multiple 3D models and layering them on top of each other. So we're choosing the best frames and the best lighting conditions to really make that perfect 3D model. Unfortunately, we need at least some sort of lighting. Fox Fury lightings are perfect for this, but if there is some sort of lighting, say like a street light, you'll still get some clarity in the scene. But in pitch darkness, so far, no one in the world has been able to either take a picture or make a 3D model.
Right. And I think also they're thinking maybe the lights on the fire trucks, the takedown lights that they use on accident scenes that lights that scene up. I think those work really well. I haven't used it on those yet, but I don't see any reason why those lights wouldn't be sufficient to work. I think they're even more powerful than the Fox Fury. The reason why we really like the Fox Fury lights is the portability of them. They don't require a generator. They don't require you to plug them in. They just turn them on. You turn them on and they're there and they're very bright. So, but if they're out there on on an accident scene where the fires departments have got their floodlights out, I think, you're going to be able to produce a pretty good map. I'm definitely wanting to do some testing on that though.
Excellent. And then we're getting close to the end here, but what was the question that popped up? Okay, so hot topic, right? DJI, agencies, federal government. We've got these bans. We've got the representative down in Florida, right? That's talking all about the Chinese drones that are collecting data. So we see that there's other platforms available, right, for flying and creating stuff. What would you say to the people that are tuning in about the other platforms? Are you going to be able to leverage those or with SkyeBrowse?
Absolutely. Our team is currently reaching out to a few drone manufacturers, and we're trying to find the drone manufacturer specifically for public safety. So you can ask around and see which departments are using which drones. But if you want SkyeBrowse on a certain drone platform, all you have to do is ask them. Ask them nonstop. Yeah. And tell them, hey, when are you supporting SkyeBrowse? Because eventually they'll reach out to us and they'll help us out as well with development. It's a lot of engineering resources and dedication, but our team moves very quickly. We release updates every 2 weeks. So as long as we find a good drone manufacturer that can work with us as much as we want to work with them, then it'll happen.
Excellent. That's great. Like that nice, good, solid handshake. So again, if you want to see it on your certain platform, you can always reach out. It's like any other, tech out there equipment. You bug enough, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So excellent. I just want to take a peek real quick. Things looking good. I don't know if you want to keep rolling, maybe answer a few more questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just go. So we got that covered now. Govern view. Okay, so how about 2 drones, one hovering over the scene with loop? Okay, this is in regards to like a night flight. So
exactly what he's asking.
Hovering over the scene with some lighting, using a drone in order to add that lighting. Have you done it, guys?
No, I would love to do that. I'm trying to get a spotlight right now that connects to the Z30 that has its own spotlight. So I would love to try that, and that's something we're going to test with that Remora lighting for the AMV light that's connecting to the Z30. However, I don't know. Well, it's going to be if it does, I'll blast it out. I promise you, because it's going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, excellent. Could you use night ops? We have a question from Dale, and I apologize to our attendees when I'm getting these questions out here that I'm not calling out everybody's names. But we got Dale was asking, could you use night ops during the day for a better day map?
It would not be as good as Ultra. Night ops is tailored for nighttime operations. We've designed it, tested it at night only. During the daytime, the models come out pretty well. And in the case that you accidentally keep it toggled on during the day, it won't ruin your model, but if you already have Ultra, you might as well toggle on Ultra, because Ultra will give you the best resolution 3D model out there.
Okay. Now, in regards to model sharing, I think I quickly covered it. Lewis was asking if we can go over sharing models again.
Sure.
If you got your screen up, Bobby, do you want me to just share mine? Is that?
Bobby, just to be clear, and I think we haven't touched on it, is we can share this model with the district attorney's office as well. Is that correct, Bobby? Where we'll be able to send a link to where they'll be able to view the model as part of the file. Yeah. Okay. That's what I want to make sure, because that's the hardest thing to do right now, is sharing your models with the other people in the special district attorney's office.
So I guess that kind of, you're saying that maybe the DA's office isn't going to have their own license. They'll
Right.
have some type of ability in order to, you know, because you don't, you see kind of like charging folks twice, right? In order, you're already paying to collect it. Now are you paying to view it as well? So
No, we're not horrible people. The goal of SkyeBrowse is to simplify your day-to-day operations. We're not trying to just nickel and dime you on everything.
Yeah.
excellent.
They can just make an account for viewing.
Excellent. Okay, so is this right here, if we're going to share?
So this shows you the models that you share to other people and the ones that are shared to you. If you were to go underneath each card, say underneath to the left of view model, there's a share button on the model you just made right there. Then when you click that, you can share it with an email that is a confirmed SkyeBrowse account, and they will be able to view the model that way.
And that would pop up right here in the shared to me.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to stop this screen. We're going to. Does server-side rendering, this is Alan, question from Alan, does server-side rendering resolution ever get better? In accordance with, or I'm not going to try to guess what that IOW, I need a fast render right now, but would like better resolution later after the urgency passes. So, okay, so you're saying, do you understand that question, Bobby?
Yes, so you're able to view the model while it's halfway done processing. So the point cloud will be more sparse, but you'll get a general idea of the scene. So if you zoom in, there's going to be holes within each point, but you'll still, if you zoom out, you'll still be able to see the scene.
Okay. iOS or Android, is it supported by both?
We started off with Android. In March of last year, we released SkyeBrowse beta on Android, and I was super excited about it because I coded it up myself, and I was really proud and launched it. We had like no users, and the reason is that all public safety uses iOS, so there weren't that many users, and DJI struck a deal with Apple in the past so that they have more access to Apple's SDK. So iOS works, if you've flown drones before, you know this as a fact, that iOS is significantly smoother with DJI than Android. So about a month ago, we shuttered our Android app just temporarily until we can work out some of the bugs with Android. When Android updated to Android Q, which is Android 10, a lot of issues occurred with DJI. And if you go on their forums, it's a lot of people complaining to DJI saying that it's just the app crashes. And it wasn't just us, it happened to every other drone company out there. So we've shuttered the Android app for now, and we want users to have the smoothest and best experience with SkyeBrowse. So definitely go with Apple on this.
Okay. Sean had a question. Is it possible to use an XT2 FLIR to provide a model that shows heat signatures?
We've made them in the past. It's still experimental. And if you do upload a thermal video, you will see a 3D model of it. It's still experimental, and we have some really, really interesting features coming out with thermal. But I can't say too much about it. It's going to come in a very big update soon.
Okay. Let's go. Steve has a question. Steve wanted to know, will this work with the Dji Smart Controller?
We had an app for it, and because Smart Controller runs on Android, it doesn't run on Android 10. It runs on Android 5, which is 6 years old, which means that we're basically trying to fly drones with the pager based on tech times. So to install it, you have to get our APK from the SD card. You have to plug it in. You press install, the app crashes. You press install again, the app crashes. Usually a third time's a charm, but I've heard stories that it takes like 5 or 6 times to just install the app. If you're running DJI Pilot on your Smart Controller or your Crystal Sky, it crashes the app. So it's not a smooth experience, and we've shuttered that for now. It's only available for iOS currently.
Okay. Question about shared maps, if it's from Anonymous. So if I shared a map with the DA's office for them to use, in a case, are they going to be able to make measurements, annotations, things like that?
Absolutely. So they can take their own measurements and annotations, which is really interesting because the DAs will be able to use their formulas and whatnot to show that in court as well. And while we're there, I want to just mention the public safety. Eric asked, how do you handle former cops using SkyeBrowse? When they're asked to show a model in court, they're no longer paying for SkyeBrowse. In the case that you really don't like us, but you've made models, our models never get deleted. They're always in our servers. So we've really optimized our servers for that. So in the case that the model shows up in court 3 years later, you'll still be able to log into your account. You just can't make models. In the case that you cancel your license, we're not trying to make things hard on you.
Excellent. Okay. And Barry, if you're looking through any of these questions, you see one that I'm not seeing that you just want to pull out.
Let me look here.
Go right ahead. Our rider asked, I do not see the point cloud density option. Is it coming back? So it sounds like we got a user, SkyeBrowse user, that's missing a feature that maybe been there before.
Yes. So we took that out. It's not a point cloud density feature. It's a render density feature. So basically, it only renders the amount of points, a certain amount of points based on your current viewing angle of the model. We took that out because it's really unnecessary. We've optimized the 3D model viewer, which is why it looks a lot cleaner right now. Mm-hmm. And it automatically renders based on your computer's speed. So you really don't need to play around with that toggle. We got rid of all the things that you don't need, so you can just focus on the model itself.
Hey, Bobby, Michael McDermott says, will you update the app for use with Crystal Sky and Matrice 210? V2, also, do you select the Zemus X5S lens, or is it automatic? So you want to touch base on the 210?
Sure. 210 works with iPads or iPhones. If you connect that to your M210.
Tell them the reason why I'm going to work on Crystal Sky real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's the question, because a lot of guys are using the Crystal Sky. Unfortunately, I know the answer, but maybe they don't. So could you touch on that as well?
Absolutely. Just Crystal Sky is the same thing as Smart Controller, where DJI won't update it to the latest version of Android, or at least to a newer version of Android. So we're really trying to juice that Android, and it's complaining. That's why it crashes all the time with SkyeBrowse, because SkyeBrowse does a lot of things in the background that you don't see when you tap SkyeBrowse. It calibrates the camera lenses, it chooses the best exposure, it gets the perfect flight path based on a lot of math going on in the background. So you just tap a button and you get a 3D model. How do you select the ZenMuse X5S lens? Is it automatic? It should be automatic. Put it on slot 1 of the M210 V2 and it'll work. If you use multiple cameras, it will only pull the video from slot 1. You can still see the video feeds for both slots. On the bottom right, you can tap it and open up the other video feed, but only slot 1's video will be recorded and saved on our database.
Okay. The be done by, okay, they're missing that. When
the Alan Schmidt one there, Paul, the manual record, thinking about a damage inspection of a house with nearby overhanging trees, how flexible can the flight be to get a useful render? You want to touch base on that, Bobby? I'm chomping at the bits to want to tell people what's coming, so I got to be real careful. So,
SkyeBrowse 2020 is going to be very interesting. We have so many updates that we're working on, and some are very close to be released, but we can't tell people about it right now. So it's going to be a surprise. It's going to be a year full of gifts. Let's see. Manual record. Damage assessment of thinking about a damage inspection of a house with nearby or overhanging trees. How flexible can the flight be to get a useful render? The goal is just like try to fly circles around the area so you can get every single angle. Drones or 3D modeling essentially acts like a pair of eyes where you need multiple angles of the area that you want to map out in order to get a good 3D model. So basically, as long as you're flying circles around the area, you're trying to get like the angles right. And one thing, you don't want to get the horizon in the video itself, because when you're matching distance, like I can tell that I'm about 3 feet away from my laptop screen. But if I look at the sky, I don't know how far the sky is. So as long as you don't get the horizon and your drone camera is generally pointing downwards and looking at the area, it can be a pretty flexible flight. Like say, well, this is a hint on what we're working on. It could be something like this, where it doesn't have to be a perfect circle.
Nice little hint. So we'll have a question. Where did it just disappeared? Okay, Steve had asked, when using SkyeBrowse to say map a path for a tornado, how do you create the path for mapping?
So with SkyeBrowse, you move a highlighted rectangle around the area, and you have sliders on the right side and on the bottom of your phone. So it's got Apple Maps, and overlaid it is a highlighted rectangle, and the surrounding area is shadowed out. And you just you can twist it to make the rectangle rotate, to zoom in, zoom out of the map. You can check out a video on how easy it is to use SkyeBrowse by going on YouTube and searching up SkyeBrowse, or just search up my name. I post a lot of videos on SkyeBrowse as well. I could use some more subscribers.
Okay, is there any links on SkyeBrowse for any of these videos, or no, just kind of YouTube?
Go on YouTube. The links, they're kind of everywhere. You can check out the SkyeBrowse YouTube channel as well.
Okay, so SkyeBrowse has a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, great.
Just based on that wide browse, you just put your 2 fingers on the screen, turn it the area you want, zoom it in, zoom it out, and then tap go. It's that easy. And then it does all the flying for you.
Okay. Now, we got Rami asking, would like to see if hiding measurements or annotations can be done. So can you hide measurements and annotations?
Can you hide measurements?
On the maps. Are you able to kind of take them off of the map? I would say in similar software, right, you can do annotations on the maps and models, and then you can choose to have those removed. Is that a feature?
Okay, Romy, give me a call afterwards and we'll discuss more in detail. It seems like an interesting feature to add if necessary. I'd be interested in seeing your use cases. And if it's very valid and it helps public safety, fire, or other first responders, we'll toss it in the next update.
Excellent. And then even if maybe, I don't know, Bobby, if you want to drop your email into that comments in the webinar chat for all the panelists, anyone can reach out with additional questions they might think of. So we got a few more questions here. We still got a great audience here, and we'll hit these few questions and wrap it up. This is from a little earlier, and this is coming from our rider, who I think is a frequent user from his questions of SkyeBrowse. And he asked, is there any suggestions for improving mapping vertical walls with SkyeBrowse?
Absolutely. So with SkyeBrowse, the drone flies in a lawnmower back and forth pattern, but it doesn't really get the sides. So we added in a feature called side scan. And when you're in the map view of SkyeBrowse, all you have to do is just toggle it on, just like how you toggle on Night Ops or Ultra. And the drone will do a big orbit, very, very quick, very big orbits after it's done with the SkyeBrowse flight. It's scary fast where you think the drone's going to crash itself, but so far, no crashes. We've done extensive testing on it, and that way you'll be able to get the sides of vertical walls.
That's excellent. We probably touched on this question. It's just hanging right here, but it was about being viewed offline. Can maps be viewed offline? Measurements be viewed offline?
Send me an email or give me a call, Alex, about this, about offline viewing, because we do have the 3D model point cloud right now. We just don't know if users really want that. So if enough users ask, we put it in, or if I see or our team sees a valid use case for public safety, for first responders, then we'll add it in as well. So it shouldn't be too difficult because we already have the point cloud generated.
Excellent. And yeah, excellent. You touched on that earlier. So Alan here had asked, will the completed model resolution get better as you zoom closer to a tight area? Any plans for a complete rendering duration slider, like when 100% it's fully rendered?
It's the model that Paul is viewing right now is fully rendered. So That's a fully rendered model, and that's when you get the email. If you choose to view the model earlier before you get the email, sometimes you'll be able to view it and it won't be fully rendered. But once you get that email, you know that it will be fully rendered.
Excellent. Okay. And then the last thing here is from John, Facebook user page. So that's kind of the last note we had here. And I think it's great to end on. It gives Bobby here a little homework and something to take from this webinar. Is creating a Facebook SkyeBrowse user group where folks can start providing that information and insight in regards to wide browse, especially with all these great new features that you guys are releasing and putting out there. It would be a great community, I think, and environment. Share that information, Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would be really interesting. I don't want to spoil too much because it's part of one of the new updates that we're adding in. It's like a community update.
Okay, maybe
call later, John, and I'll tell you more about it.
Honestly, though, these guys are constantly thinking about new ways and new things to add to this platform. And honestly, the things that are coming blew my mind whenever I finally saw them in use. And I know I'm teasing here, but I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke when they first told me about it. I'll be honest with you. But then they showed me the completed format of it, and I was like, this is nuts, man. So get ready, because it's going to be, it'll change everything you do and how you set your maps, I promise.
Excellent. And then Alan popped in again with the not rendered, but during viewing. I would say, Alan, definitely reach out to Bobby. He's got his email there, and I know, just for the short time I've known Bobby, he's there to answer any questions you might have, especially if it's in regards to improving the SkyeBrowse platform as a whole. So that's excellent. We got all our questions answered. We've got our map and model processed. We did that in 30 minutes from upload to complete view. I encourage everybody to download the application, reach out, go on the website, learn a little bit more, and set something up, put a car out there and fly a scene and just see how easily you can map and model things. And then share this with the folks in your network, because you never know who might be able to leverage what's coming. And as Bobby and Barry have mentioned, there's just so much coming down the pipe. I'm going to go ahead and Barry, if you had anything that you some last comments for the folks that are still tuned in.
No, I appreciate everyone being here. I think it was a great hour of learning, and I love talking about this stuff. It's crazy good. So I appreciate you having me. Certainly.
And then Bobby, just anything you need to add, you not need to add, but how do you want to wrap this out here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a dude. Like I'm just a nerd who coded stuff. Like about a year ago, I stopped coding and to focus more on emails and phone calls. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. In November when we launched, it was a pretty fast user growth. Everyone just started signing up. Everyone started emailing me, like telling me all of their use cases, thanking me for the software. And I'm just really humbled to be here right now. And thank you, Paul, for reaching out and inviting us to your webinar.
Yeah, certainly. I appreciate it, because you and Barry both, and even like I said, I'm not comparing, but for the people in the 910 drones audience here in Fayetteville, in the North Carolina area, you can certainly be considered an expert, and then you, Bobby, as well, because drones aren't just the flying aircraft. It's software, it's hardware, and it's operational procedures. And when we bring together the right software, the right hardware, and we're putting the right ops procedures in place, we're getting the data and we're getting the information that we all need and can use. So I do appreciate both of you being on the show and giving your time for the 910 drones audience. So thank you. And I want to thank everybody that tuned in and is in support of SkyeBrowse, 910 drones, and what our companies are doing here for the industry. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your evening. And again, thank you, Bobby and Barry.
Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
Find SkyeBrowse at 910 Drones or at skyebrowse.com.
Excellent. And then I'm going to drop in the comments here. I'll put in my email. Barry can throw his email in. Bobby's email is in there. Pull that, reach out to any of us.
Perfect, gents. All right, then. I'll catch you guys later.
Later.
Adios.